Hey, Allissa here again. Hi, Robert. Hi, Andreas. Maybe you're still with me. Maybe you're not. I showed this book the last time, and Anders Blomqvist at think Linköping University had A.D. Bud Craig come over to Sweden and give a lecture. And it was called Science on the Cutting Edge. Probably 2015, 16 maybe, kind of when I came over, maybe even before that. But here's the thing, science on the cutting edge. Um, this functional neuroanatomist, oh, that's a mouthful, functional neuroanatomist, A.D. Bud Craig, um, was onto something pretty big about how the interoception and all our the ecosystem within us is communicating with bucket brigades up to this. and and most of the information that he got was because of people like Okay Valboy, and I'm gonna forget this other Swede's name. It's not Hoke Olasen. I gotta pause you because this is too important. Another, yes, Norsel, Ulf Norsel. Norsel was a person with in Göteborg, Gothenburg in English, researching cool temperature and pain. And it's on page, let's see, page 75 of this book, of this book. Let me see. You can't go anywhere. Well, you could. You could turn this off, but yeah. So Ulf Norsel and Anders Blomqvist translated, sorry, got so many papers. He translated information from T. Thunberg, 1896, while he was a doctoral student in Uppsala, Sweden. And it was all about thermal sensation. And so the thing is, there's so many people in Sweden doing research on touch, and at some point, Bill Reed and quite a few other people that are in the United States doing force-based mechanisms and with neurons matter, and they're working with individuals. Some of them are working with individuals like Laura Case with Holcon and Linköping, and actually today is Sunday the 29th. So there's a 10-day summer school in Linköping that was with what's called Neuron Matters, and they were all discussing the body and sensation. And so it's wrapping up on Monday, Monday the 30th. So from June 20th to the 30th, they were there. And there is a principal investigators meeting in July 18th. I'll put in the show notes. So I don't know if it's a virtual meeting or a person meeting, but hopefully they're going to discuss some of the things that were talked about. So, but what I'm trying to say, people from the 1890s were talking about our somatosensory system and how we interpret information. And we don't even only have A.D. Bud Craig, which I've gone through this book and I can't find anywhere that he's talked about fascia. Nothing about fascia. It's all about bones and ligaments and muscles, nervous system. But I highlighted a few things a lot, and um, I don't find anything about fascia. But if I turn to something else, John Lewis wrote this book. John Lewis is from the United Kingdom, and it's about Andrew Taylor Still. And if you can tell from a picture how nice someone is, you might be able to tell this is just one nice guy. You would love to meet him on the road. First of all, you'd love to meet him on the road because he could probably help you with your pain without giving you a drug. He started a hospital in the 1900s in the United States. And in his hospital, before and after surgeries, people had hands on body work. it was a requirement before the surgery. And what have we done? We've taken all of that out of the medical system, and it's about pills. And I have to, yeah, I know we have great scientists that make these amazing pharmaceutical therapies. Pharmaceutical therapeutics is what Helen Langevin talks about, and that's fine because I benefit from that with medicine, pill medicine, but I also benefit from hands-on body work. I I do it as a profession, so I'm a little biased, but I also receive it myself because after 5 car accidents and a really crappy neck, a day of doing body work with several different individuals puts a toll on my body. So, how am I going to keep myself going? And that's a personal preference, but I think that we're missing a lot about body work. And the average person doesn't know it's not just about relaxation. And so I'm here to say the first sensation that our body grows up with is this sonic pressure, a sound wave. I'll get to it in my next video. I know that sounds a little bit odd. What are you talking about, Allissa? Sound waves, but the speed of sound travels faster in water than it does air. And the speed of sound travels even faster in salt water, which, what are we made of? And the speed of sound travels fastest in dense material like the ground. And what's all in our body is ground substance and reticular fibers. And Neil, Dr. Thies, I absolutely adore you. And I've never met Becky Wells, but one of these days I hope to meet her because this July paper of 2025 is outstanding. And all of these reticular areas are fluid filled spaces. And where do we think we get our lymph from? I mean, here in Sweden, we had Otis Rudbeck that went to Queen Christina and said, "Hey, I think I've discovered something." And she said, "Why don't you come to my court and show us?" And lo and behold, she listened. And lo and behold, lymphatics was born. And without the internet, without YouTube, without science television, lo and behold, there was somebody in, I think I might get this wrong, either Denmark or Germany or Holland, that published their own work about the lymphatic system. So Olaf Rudbeck showed Queen Christina the lymphatic system that he thought he discovered, this fluid system that helps our immune system. I used Swedish there. And he didn't publish, he just showed Christina. But the other individual published, and so they are said to be the founder and finder of the lymphatic system. But, you know, quite honestly, nobody found it because our body has always had it. We just learned something new. Oh. So AT Still, he had a hospital. And the reason I'm so passionate about this is we're in 2025 and we're still writing about it, and we're not putting it into practice in our clinical setting where my mom went to so many doctors saying, "Hey, I don't feel good." "Oh, well, we know what's wrong, let's do surgery." Great, that might have fixed it, but what we know about this and what we know about fascia and what we know about how our body works. Hey Siri, turn off. Next client's coming. So this is Judith O'Connell. She's an osteopath in the United States, and this is, I think, her dissertation. And she says, chapter 1 from AT Still, our roots are in the fascia. And that was written in the philosophy.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Siri's talking. The philosophy of osteopathy on page 162. So Andrew Taylor Still also said that he's describing the tree of life, that fascia proved to be the residence of the physician within. How brilliant is this? And no matter what I want for my patients, he says it is their choice to engage life or death. And the average doctor, even the doctors of osteopathy in the United States, they don't have time. Oh, they have 10 minutes with their patients. They don't have time to do manual treatment. They don't even have time to eat lunch. They don't even have time to breathe. That sucks. Here in Sweden, lunches are sacred. There's no phone calls to customers. There's you sit down, you chat with your colleagues, and you have lunch. So whether that's a half hour or an hour, you take it and you love it. And it is your right to have it. So June 2022, 1874, osteopathy was founded, and one of the first tenets and principles was nature constantly strives to express health. And number two, the body possesses all the agencies required for healing. Well, I think our friend Dr. Peter Sterling from What is Health, Allostasis, must have read this. Don't know for sure. I was trying to find something about what Dr. Andrew Taylor Still said regarding the brain is just the fascia is just the branch offices of the brain. And I wish I had more time because I'd show you something else, but I don't. And so anyway, relaxation is relaxing muscles, but it's not only that. Let's see. It says osteopathic lesions. And it's not lesions like an open sore, but it's like, in a way, a barrier, something that's not supposed to be there, something that doesn't feel right. And this is why, as a manual therapist, how many years have you been working with the body? Robert and Andreas, you've been researching the body, but do you have hands-on work? Maybe you do because you're an osteopath, right? Osteopathic lesions often cause discomfort, but their real significance lay in the physiology effects they produced. Osteopathy is therefore not only curative, but also powerfully preventative, and still believe that early correction of lesions might significantly increase life expectancy. How have we forgotten this? Or not been taught this, or not relearned this? Maybe we've relearned it over and over again, but I have a video, no, I have a picture to show you. Then I have to finish this video because my client will knock on the door very soon. Everyone here in Sweden comes 10 minutes early, which as American, I don't. All right. All right. So if we hear a knock knock on the door, I'm going to have to pause you again. But I did something based on this information that I was reading. The senses. A photon of light, it changes its configuration and it sets off a series of molecular reactions that lead to, within a few milliseconds, a change in the flow of ions through the cell membrane. Now, here's the thing. When a cell membrane changes shape, the cell changes. And that is called cell conformation. So when a cell changes shape, that's called cell conformation. I don't know why they have to make this so very hard to understand, but cell conformation. So what happens if the shape changes, not only by a physical pressure that's put on the skin, but there's a lot of fluid around this. Hang on. There's a lot of fluid around this. The client came 9 minutes early. Ah, told her I was on a phone call, which I kind of am. So anyway, so the cell membrane, if the cell membrane changes shape due to the reticular network around it or the fluid around it, does that actually change the personality of that cell? Because different receptors around the area are also influenced. And so my question to you is polymodal receptors, what happens if those polymodal receptors are no longer sensing pleasant touch? What happens if those polymodal receptors are sensing nociception? So there's individuals with chronic pain, and as we'll see later on, Ardon Pataputian says in his Nobel Prize lecture that chronic pain is a medical unmet need. And he's right, because my mom was directly there. So she was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and and I won't go there. So these cell membranes, when they change shape, um, then that is a cascade of chemical and electrical signals. So here it talks about invertebrates, but here it's also talking about nerve function. And in a person, we have nerve terminals that are free nerve endings, which are the most common. And Dr. Schleip, you have talked so much about this. I've learned so much from you, and I'm grateful. Ruffini endings, encapsulated endings, Pacini corpuscles, Meissner corpuscles, and Krauss end bulbs. And I think what they mean by encapsulated is it has a shell around it, and that shell has fluid. And we're going to see later on with Martin Grunwald's book. Oh, let's just do it now. Martin Grunwald's book, Human Haptic Perception. Yeah, let's just do it now. Oh, it's upside down. That there are Pacinium corpuscles, 81, page 81. Where are you, page 81? Pacinium corpuscles have been found. I should have paused you. 88, page 88. I said Pacinium corpuscles, and it is not, it's muscle spindles. So muscle spindles, yeah, they're in muscles. They live in muscles, and they're encapsulated. And here's what it says. They belong together with the Golgi tendon organs to the group encapsulated mechanoreceptors of the locomotion apparatus. So without these puppies, boy, do we have movement problems. Yes, they're about 2 to 10 millimeters long and about 0.2 millimeters thick. Oh, they're small. In the lumbrical muscles, the longest muscle spindles are found in the middle of the muscle, while the closer to the end, the muscle ends are shorter. Okay, so according to a source called Robertson, the fusiform capsule of the muscle spindle consists of an inner spindle sheath and an outer spindle sheath. Thin collagen fibers are running in spirals through the periaxial space, periaxial, peri, in between, axial, yeah, space, between the two layers. The outer layer is surrounded by an endomysium of the extrafusal muscle fiber. The perineum of the supplying nerve is a continuation of the arachnoid matter. Well, the arachnoid matter is in the brain. And as many people, it's the second dura of the three. And arachnoid meaning spider-like. And this extends into the capsule of the muscle spindle, explaining the assumption that cerebrospinal fluid can be found within the muscle spindles. And so I have a little picture with my eyes there go, yeah. Why is this in page 88 of one book? I've never read that before. And maybe we need more studies on that. But I think we should really be done with studies and just start treating people and their life experiences. Because if one muscle spindle is affected, everything around that, it's a continuity, as Neil Thies and the others in that pancreas paper talk about. That continuity affects everything else, whether it's trickle down, trickle up, whether it's a snowball effect. We have this all in every language possible, but one thing leads to another, leads to another, leads to another. But if cells shapes change in a multiplicity, a multi effect, how does that affect the physiology of the tissue around? So if you think about us as people, um, if I'm in Sweden, walking in nature, in the clear blue skies and gorgeous, I can breathe easy. But if I go to Beijing, if I go to Shanghai, if I go to California and Hollywood, when there's a lot of heavy smog and I'm breathing that in, over a course of time, that's going to do something to my lungs rather than this fresh air here in Sweden and really gorgeous, wonderful tasting water. So let's get on with my pictures of my hand because the last video talked, shared information from Alex Chesler about PZOs, PZO 2 and 1, and he did that with Karsten Boneman, and they're both at the NIH. But here's what I did. Nature is, sorry, this is something for kids, but this is from Reddit. I love this picture. This picture has all these different species from the forest. So I named this one a Ruffinian corpuscle. Look at him. He's in the deep skin ligaments and he's slow adapting. Walking sticks are slow. So 20% of the receptors in the hand are Ruffini corpuscles. And this monitors constant pressure and Truk. Constant pressure, sorry, Truk is Swedish. So now we don't have the next one up, so I got to go back to you and share my screen. Let's see, insects on the hand. Who's the next guy we have? Oh, this big thick one, subcutaneous skin. 15% of skin receptors of the hand are low rumble. Brrr. Elephants sense, oh yeah, these are Pacinian corpuscles, right? Pacinian corpuscles in the fat pads of elephants' feet sense the rumble of thunder, but also a lion's roar. Now, because the speed of sound is faster in the ground, the elephants feeling this know that the lion is further away. But if elephants hear a lion roar, they know that lion is closer and the matriarch moves the herd. So Pacinian corpuscles we have as people because evolution finds a way and she decides, hey, I've done it once. It's really good. I'm going to preserve it. There's the other one, Golgi tendon organs. So I think, and muscle spindles. I think this guy is a Golgi tendon organ, and this is a muscle spindle, the little green guy. So muscle spindles are coiled in collagen. They're there for proprioception, balance, and give information to the body where the body is, even if the eyes are closed. And if you remember what Ardam Pataputian was chatting about, the engineering student grew up not knowing she was PZO2 deficient until her genes were sequenced because she adapted. She learned to move through the world with her eyes, just like Ian Waterman. And then Golgi tendon organs, they're in muscles plus located between tendons and muscle located between muscle and fascia. And most GTOs are simple muscle spindles. And that's why the other book that I just read from Human Haptic Perception said they're in a class of encapsulated mechanoreceptors. Pacinian corpuscles and Golgi tendon organs overlap to monitor the tension. So is the tension just right? In Swedish, we call lagom. So if something's lagom, it's just right. It's a Goldilocks zone, Goldilocks. And if something's just right, maybe the personality doesn't have to change as much. And maybe the personality doesn't have to become nociceptive. So here we have Merkel cells and oh, the delicate. Yeah, I gave it to the little delicate little baby. The epidermis, 25 of all Merkel discs in the hand. They're clusters in the glabrous skin of the fingertips. And remember we talked about Meissner corpuscles the other day, and older people lose them. The glandular ridges, that's just the fingerprints. So they're in the glabrous skin of the fingertips. lips because we don't have any hair on these lips. Oh, and the genitalia, because most people don't have hair on the genitals, around to feel, but yeah. So where there's hairy skin, uh, um, so glabrous skin is without hair, and where there's hairy skin, we probably have other things. This should say clusters of hairless skin. My bad. Yeah, but as my husband and daughter say, Mom, I think you're wrong. And it's happened. It's happened before. So who did I say the Meissner corpuscles were? I think I ran out of insects, but they're on glabrous skin as well. Meissner corpuscles, the fingers, palms, soles of the feet, penis, clitoris, and lips. Oh, and then like touch. And maybe that's why a kiss is so nice. We need these on our hairless skin because they all give information and they all can kind of produce an emotion. So I think I got to go because my client is here. Bless her heart. Hey, do. Sub goat. I'll come back. Hey, do.